your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast, now streaming on all major podcast platforms. A Till Valhalla Project ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a My Veteran Story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check it out, see what we're all about. There's a lot of cool stuff there, and you can help support us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. There's a merchandise tab, and go get you something cool. I'm doing amazing things out there. If you don't know anything about them, please check them out. That's tillvalhallaproject.com, and a great, amazing organization. If you can help them, please do so.
Ton Tavern, birthplace of the Corps. We as Marines hold this history close to our hearts. Wouldn't it be spectacular if the establishment was born again? The Ton Legacy Foundation, a nonprofit 501c3, is taking the task and is looking to the Marines to once again save the day. Help the Lost Art podcast in raising funds to help get the Ton built once again, only 100 yards from the original establishment in Philadelphia. We are looking for Marines to donate $25, representing the upcoming 250th birthday of the Corps. Spread the message and help establish the Ton, a place for Marine brethren to gather and remember our historic beginning. Go to the Lost Art GoFundMe page and donate today. The Ton Legacy Foundation, reestablishing our birthplace.
All right, with that, I got Jay Godfrey here. Hey, how you doing?
Good, sir, and yourself?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I get to sit here and listen to your story. This is going to be a good time.
Also,
Yeah, no, it'll be great. It'll be great. Well, let's start at the beginning, where you grew up and what drew you to military service, and then we'll go from there.
I guess to answer question B, what drew me to military service and where I grew up. Grew up in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I'm a second generation Marine. My father, retired Master Sergeant Bill Godfrey, retired in 1990, and then I have Uncle Jim, retired LDO captain. Uncle Sam, retired gunner sergeant. I grew up in Jacksonville, North Carolina. He retired. We moved to Jacksonville, Florida. He passed away in 95. I joined the Marine Corps in 97 and then just kept bouncing from Jacksonville, North Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida. And then I retired in July of 2017. Decided to stay in Jacksonville, North Carolina because that's where I consider home. And I currently work for Onslow County Department of Social Services.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's kind of a family business then, a little bit of it. Talk to me about when you joined and you went to boot camp and everything. Was everybody excited for it, or were you excited for it?
Funny story about that. My senior year, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, so I decided to. Sorry, phone's going dead. I decided to. Originally decided to join the Army. I took the ASVAB and the physical for the Army, and then they just did that thing where they wanted to hold me till the next month because he'd already written his contracts. And that's when the Marine Corps recruiter swooped in, and my mom was all aboard me joining the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I was 17 when I joined, so I had to get parental consent. The recruiter actually came to the house, and he saw all the Marine stuff on the wall. He looked at my mom, looked at me, looked back at her. He's like, "There's nothing I can tell you don't already know, is there?" She's like, "Pretty much, no, just tell me where to sign." So, and then I joined. Yeah, and then I joined. I shipped out in July of 97. I spent about a month between graduation and shipping out. I turned 18 halfway through boot camp. And my father, before I was born, was actually a drill instructor. So,
okay.
Yeah, I spent my first 2 years down at Parris Island.
Oh, nice.
Really didn't know it at the time until they started handing out the little orange medical records when you first go to recruit training. Mine already had about half an inch of paperwork in there because mom took me to the doctor from newborn all the way to 2. So I had a bunch of paperwork in there already.
Wow.
And that kind of like tipped all the guys off who I was. And the drill instructors wanted to make sure I got the full immersive experience. So they had fun with it.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, especially trying to hide the birthday and all that. And I kept getting the birthday cards in the red, the blue, the orange, the yellow envelopes. And then just get up here and begin. So good time.
Oh, man, that's awesome. So obviously a very full boot camp experience for you. You got to enjoy all the woes, I guess you could call it, of the
Yeah,
quarterdeck and the pit and all the other good stuff. So,
no regrets whatsoever. Yeah. And then so my dad passed away before I joined, so my uncle wanted to make sure I got the like even worse. So he used to write stuff on the outside of the envelope like "Don't worry, my DI was a dickhead too" and stuff like that. So it was a good time.
are you there? Did
Yeah.
I lose you?
No, I'm
Sorry.
here. Yeah.
All right.
Just
Yeah.
saying. I'm sorry. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying my uncle made sure I had the full experience since my dad passed away. He didn't get to see me join, so he wrote stuff on the outside of the envelopes. He mailed me like "Don't worry, my DI was a dickhead too." So yeah,
Very nice. Yeah.
good
Yeah.
times.
As it should be. Yeah. 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 So, now did you already know what your job was going to be when you joined, or?
I had an occupational field, so I had the supply and accounting side. So I knew in regards to doing, PO work, I was going to do something at the desk in regards to supply and admin. And then I just
Mhm.
wound up being a 3043 supply administration, which
Okay.
was the same almost my dad had. So,
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
like,
Now,
a
did you
lot
do
of
that on
parallels.
purpose, or is that
No, it just
luck?
happened. A lot of parallels in the careers. Like he went to supply school in 1969. I went in 1997, but we
Wow.
both had the CEO of supply school at the same time had the same last name Reed. So it was Lieutenant Colonel Reed both times both of us went through. It was wild. But
That's crazy.
yeah. And then yeah, did my supply school at Camp Johnson here in North Carolina, and my first duty station was a second radio battalion. Uh
Oh, just
yeah,
down the
back
road
then it
then.
was a
Yeah.
second FSSG, now second MLG, but
Yeah.
young Lance Corporal or young PFC Lance Corporal second radio battalion kind of cut my teeth in supply, learned how to do, the property accounting, DASIP, warehousing, all that
Mhm.
good stuff. So
Very nice. And what were some of the, I guess, the good or the bad experiences that you had your first go there at Radio Battalion?
yeah, the goods were, I mean, just learning how to be a Marine. You see the
Yeah.
ideal on TV and you learn the stories of boot camp. You don't really know what it's like to be a Marine until you get to your first unit. And
True.
I had some outstanding leadership there. Master Gunner Sergeant Delfino Anguiano was my first supply chief, and I learned so much from him, just how to be a professional Marine, and then
Hmm.
just hanging out with the bros. Like you got people talking about like, oh, my high school friends, my football team, all that. Like you don't have friends like you do in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Flat out, you or
Yeah,
actually
that's true.
military in general, you do not have friends like you do in the military. Like you cannot talk to somebody for 15 years, meet up with them, and then pick up like you never had any time lost. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's amazing that whole connection,
Mhm.
it's just one of the best connection type things there is,
Oh yeah,
I don't think you'll ever
it's
get
the
it
best.
anywhere
It
else.
is bar none the best networking out there.
Oh yeah,
And,
for sure. Yeah, yeah.
and then some of the bad. I mean, like I got fapped out. I thought it was a reward going on a cool TAD trip, but I realized it was just my shop really didn't care to get rid of me. It was going to Mojave Viper. It was CAX at the time in '98,
Oh yeah. Okay.
and but yeah, it was a good time. I mean, even then, it was you were in the middle of the Mojave Desert, but you got to pull a weekend in Vegas, so that was cool. But
Ah,
if
very
I had to
nice.
say the worst time I had at Second Radio Battalion was probably that time I pulled CAX. It was 130 degrees, just hot. That's back. We still
Yeah.
had the old green cami, so you had no deserts to bounce some of the sunlight. You had black boots, so it just soaked the heat in. But that was the worst. And of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
says going to Stone Bay, go to the rifle range was the worst. Just 3:30 to pull weapons at 5 to start
Mm,
shooting at 6. So
yeah. Gotta love going out to Stone Bay, that's for sure.
oh, it's better as a staff non-fire than it is a shooter. I can tell you that firsthand.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's got to be way better,
oh yeah,
huh?
and then
Very cool. So you spent how long were you there at Radio Battalion?
I was there for 3 years. From a PFC to a senior Lance Corporal, because
Okay.
that's back when the cutting scores were still like insane to where they didn't
Yeah.
promote anybody. And then my next duty station was sorry, I'm trying to get my phone charger going so I can actually
Oh,
don't
you're
die.
good. You're good.
Yeah. And then my next unit was Camp Fuji in Japan. I was headquarters company in
Oh,
Camp Fuji,
nice.
and
Yeah, yeah.
great time out there. You know, 20 turned 21 out there.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Well, good and bad. My birthday was right when they had the G8 summit in Tokyo, so they locked us down my 21st birthday weekend.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
and but weekends in Tokyo, going to Roppongi, getting to go sightseeing, just about half and half debauchery and actual cultural immersions.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah,
Oh
and
man.
picked up corporal out there. Got to actually start leading Marines out there as an NCO, and started college out there too, the University of Maryland, University College.
Okay.
It was only a year tour, and I got to experience New Year's in Tokyo, which was insane. Like people talk about New
Wow.
Year's like Times Square. Like go to Tokyo if you want to see a full New Year's. It's amazing.
Is it like way bigger than the Times Square party or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Wow.
The entire city's just rocking and rolling, and didn't matter if you
Very
didn't
cool.
speak the language. Everybody just was happy. So it didn't matter
Yeah.
if you spoke English, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, Chinese. Everybody was just
Yeah.
hugging on you and saying Happy New Year and all that. So it was great.
Very cool. And this was what year? What was it?
2000 to 2001.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. And
I missed the big one. I missed the Y2K one.
yeah, yeah. That was that. I'm sure that would have been fun in Tokyo and the
Oh yeah,
Y2K one.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just I mean that was a great experience going to, like, first time leaving the country going to Japan was amazing. So
Yeah. Now, did you have any issues or anything while you were over there during that time? Like, you hear some people have bad experiences with the local nationals and stuff like that. I know
no,
I didn't have it when I was there, but
no. I mean, you got the brief, you got the cultural brief when you first checked in. Like, hey, some of the
mhm.
older Japanese really don't like Americans here, and then you did occasionally have protesters outside the gate. But have you ever been to
Right.
Camp Fuji?
No, oh, no, not Camp
Okay,
Fuji, no.
Camp Fuji's right across the street from the Japanese Ground Self Defense Force.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we had like a lot of cultural training with the Japanese Ground Self Defense Force. So that was really cool. Got to meet them, trade chevrons and all that with them, get some cool
Oh,
Japanese
yeah.
gear. So, but yeah,
Very nice.
nothing really like bad in regards to bad experiences with the culture. It's just, I had a blast over there. Like if I could
Yeah.
go back then knowing what I know now, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Man, it is a great experience over there. I mean, just getting to immerse yourself in a new culture is always really cool, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
one of the great things about the Marine Corps. You're always
Oh
going to
yeah.
be able to. So,
And it's not like you're trying to pack, 2 weeks or pack a year into 2 weeks because you're over there for a year. So you got the chance to
yeah,
actually fully get out and experience everything. So, I mean, eating
yeah,
the
that's right.
food, meeting the people, experiencing the culture. It was a culture shock from a kid from small town southeastern United
Yeah,
States going to like this gigantic global city. So
very cool. So, where did you end up going after that?
that was I was up on my reenlistment mark, and I'm like, do I want to stay in? Do I want to get out? And then
Hmm.
the jammer got me, dangled that carrot in front of me. He's like, hey, how would you like to be stationed in your hometown? Jacksonville, Florida, not Jacksonville, North
Yeah.
Carolina. And so I got stationed in Blunt Island. My mom actually worked for me for 3 years.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah, because she worked accounts receivable at Blunt Island, and I was supply attainment clerk down there. So I was in charge of making sure the class 3, 4, and 9 got replenished for the ships, and she handled everything coming to the warehouse. So I basically got to work with my mom every day for 3 years. It was awesome.
Wow, man,
But
that's a cool experience.
it really is. But she had gotten remarried in the interim after my dad passed away, so she had a different
Yeah.
last name. And me and her used
Oh,
to
I
go to
see.
yeah, me and her used to go to lunch every day. And then I got called into the captain's office, the major's office, lieutenant colonel's office, like, hey, they're I want you to know Miss Mashad's married. I'm like, I know. Well, you don't in propriety or anything. People talk about adultery. I'm like, that'd be kind of weird because she's my mother. What? Yeah, it's my mom. Oh
That
wow,
is
okay.
funny.
So, but that was funny. But yeah, no, it was a really cool time there because it's not a big military town other than the Navy. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, Jacksonville, square mile wise, Jacksonville, Florida is the biggest city in the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so other cities build up, Jacksonville builds
Hmm.
out. So
Yeah.
and like
Now,
going
is it
down
still?
95 south, it takes an hour and a half to get from North Jacksonville to South Jacksonville. It is a gigantic city.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, and
Is it still the biggest, do you think?
square mile wise, yeah,
No kidding.
yeah,
Wow.
and
Yeah, I didn't know
like
that.
it is Duval County. That is the only city in Duval County is Jacksonville. And,
Holy cow.
yeah, and but yeah, no, just a lot of experiences. Like got to do a lot of pregame festivities for the Jacksonville Jaguars color guards and all that. The Toyota
Oh,
Gator
very
Bowl,
cool.
got to do those. I think it's the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl now, but yeah, just a lot of pregame ceremonies for that. And off the
Um,
bat, I could, without even hesitation, the worst part of that duty tour was
mm.
9/11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were there during 9/11. So talk me through that if you don't mind.
Uh, that morning, I was actually at NS Mayport getting a commercial bus driver license.
Okay.
And we were getting our road time. The guy took us back. He's like, "Hey, y'all need to get off base now." Like, why? They're about to shut it down. Why? Somebody just flew a plane into the trade center. So I had just made it off NAS Mayport when the barriers came up. And
Oh, wow.
go to my buddy's house, drop him off. We're watching the TV, and all you see is one tower in the smoke. He's like, "Where's the other tower?" I'm like, "Man, it ain't there." He's like, "No, it's behind the smoke." I'm like, "Bro, it ain't there." Right when I said that, the second tower fell.
Oh, wow.
And get to my house, and they had locked the island down because there's only one bridge on and off Blunt Island.
Mhm.
They had locked that down, kicked everybody off, and they didn't know what was going on. It's still information fluid, get in and get out. So we had to pull 8-hour shifts at the front gate, checking every single vehicle that came in.
Oh, fun times there.
And I had midnight to 8 a.m.
Wow.
And
And how
traffic,
how long would that? How long did that last?
about a month.
Okay.
And I mean, it was getting people out of the cars, looking under seats, looking in glove boxes, in consoles,
Oh,
getting the mirror
wow.
going into vehicles. Traffic was backed up about 3.5 miles the first day.
Whoa.
I mean, we condensed and they started shuffling like, "Hey, you get here from 5 to 5:30, you 5:30 to 6,
Right.
like break it up." But that was the time, and that's like, "Hey, are we going to war? What are we doing?" We
Yeah.
didn't know. And later on, they pulled a bunch of people to go to Kuwait to do regeneration of all the gear used in that country. So they had to pull
Okay.
stuff off the ships. I went to Norway to pull stuff out of the caves to put on ships to send over there. So I got to spend some time in Norway, but it was really cool. And
Now, how long were you up in Norway?
just a month. They have
Oh,
the
okay.
National Strategic War Reserve, so they have like rolling
Hmm.
stock, batteries, tents, individual
Right.
equipment, and caves. And we pulled stuff out, put it in the boats to send over to replenish everything they'd used on the ground in the interim.
Wow.
So that was my part for the initial war effort, was going to Norway.
Yeah, yeah. That's very interesting, though. I mean, not everybody knows about that.
Yeah, and then also some collateral duties we had to do with being stationed at Blunt Island. We also did a lot of funeral details,
Oh, really?
a lot of funeral details.
Now,
And it
you
all
like a rifleman type of thing, or were you leading a
rifleman,
detail?
pallbearing, flag holding, bugling,
You did it
whatever.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the dirty secret nobody wants to talk about is that bugle. It has a little muzzle on there. You push the button, it projects taps out.
Yeah.
So it looks
Yeah,
like you're
yeah,
playing. You're faking the funk, but it's just check the batteries before you go out there. So,
yeah.
but
Yeah, that could be bad.
and we did guys that did 4 years in the 40s and 50s got out. You might just do a flag holding presentation playing tabs. You had people. We had a couple KIAs in Iraq rated the full detail, pallbearers, sword detail, rifle fold or rifle
Wow.
shields, everything. And like it's that started my love hate relationship with funeral details, because
Yeah.
from 2001 till now I've done 115 funerals.
No kidding. Wow.
115 AKAs in Iraq.
Wow.
And I,
And
I
that was all.
remember.
Now, that wasn't all in Jacksonville, was it?
No, it was Jacksonville, and then my next duty station I was I&I duty in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. I see.
So it was from 2001 till 2007. I was on independent duty, so that was 113 funerals. And then
Wow.
2 years in retirement, I did my uncle's, and then I did 5 years in retirement. I did my brother-in-law's. So
Holy cow, man.
yeah,
That's a lot of funerals.
yeah, and you remember every single one too,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
especially the
yeah.
KAs. But got stationed in I&I Charlotte. That's when we started getting into the Toys for Tots program, doing that, which
Hmm.
which was a blast. I love doing that. Um, just getting out, giving a positive image to the Marine Corps, helping kids
Right.
out for Christmas, and just feel good stories, real feel good
Yeah.
stories. And
And the I&I stations, that's some of their biggest thing is the Toys for Tots and then also the funerals and stuff, correct?
yes, the
Yeah.
Toys for Tots is the main mission for the Marine Corps Reserve is Toys for Tots, and
Hmm.
the collateral is doing the funeral details. And we would have anywhere between 5 miles from the reserve center up to like 300 miles away doing funerals.
No kidding.
Yeah, which
Wow.
did not mind doing it all. It's an obligation. It's an honor to do that because you
Yeah.
pay honor to the guys that came before you, and then I would hope somebody would do it for me one day when I go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then, but no, it's like you're sitting there, 15, 30, 1600 on Friday waiting to secure for the weekend. That fax machine kicks up, and you see a full
Mm,
detail retired major lives an hour and a half, 2 hours away on a Sunday at 3 o'clock. You're like, oh man, my weekend is
yeah.
shut. So
Was that a pretty regular occurrence, like weekend
Not the
type
full
things?
details on the weekends. You get like the corporal from the 70s on the weekends.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, we can send 3 people out to do that, so we can
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And but
Okay.
I mean, you always got paid back if you did a funeral detail on Saturday, Sunday. You get the Monday off. So I mean,
Okay.
not
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
do
yeah.
it for the time off or anything, but it is nice to be like, all right, well, my weekend I didn't get a Saturday, so at least I get a Monday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's important to get that comp time
Oh
in.
yeah, oh yeah. And
Yeah.
that was about from Jacksonville, Florida to the first half of Charlotte. I was married the first time, and that marriage fell apart because she just couldn't handle being a military spouse. So I don't know how you could be a military spouse in Jacksonville, Florida, and Charlotte, North Carolina, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then wound up getting divorced, and then went to Australia for a month to help train reservists, which was another
Oh,
really
wow.
really cool duty assignment. It was me and like 2 other active duty guys going to basically for the reservists get their 2 week or 1 week in a month, 2 weeks over the summer,
Yeah.
and just got to supervise them, got to see the culture, and we were in Rockhampton, Australia,
Okay.
the beef capital of Australia. That's what they're known for.
Very
And
nice. All right.
just I mean, super cool people. Once again, got to interact with Australian Army. Super cool dudes. Got to trade stories with them. Talk about training.
Hmm.
Swapped out uniform items. Like I traded a set of my chevrons for a set of Australian sergeant chevrons, and just stuff
Very
like that.
cool. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
about then, let's see, that was 2007. So I had been in for 10 years. I was a 3P sergeant trying to pick up staff sergeant at the time.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
Kyle was like at that teetering point, like, am I going to stay in? Am I going to get out? Am I going to reenlist to make them
Right.
kick me out, to make them pay me to get out? And then right about that time, I got back from Australia. I had met my now wife, and we started dating. And
Hmm.
she's like, "Hey, whatever you want to do, I'm here for you. I'm here to support you." And then I got orders of recruiting duty. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I'm like, great. And I took them. I'm like, because the last time I got passed for staff sergeant,
Uh-huh.
one of my mentors, Gunner Sergeant Scott Carson, and my Sergeant Major Sidney Thomas pulled me in the office. Was like, listen, I know you should be a staff sergeant. You know you should be a staff sergeant.
Mhm.
Don't give up. Reenlist, go to recruiting duty, come back, make them realize they made a mistake. I guarantee you this time next year, you'll be a staff sergeant.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, why not? And took the orders, went to recruiting school. My wife planned a wedding in about 6 weeks while I was in California.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah, I graduated recruiting school on Friday. We got married the next Saturday, and then I checked in 6 days later.
Oh my God.
So I was a
Oh,
newlywed on recruiting duty. We're still together.
very nice.
Oh,
Very nice.
she's a beast. She's the rock. Because we had our first kid when I was on recruiting duty.
Oh my God, man.
My second kid doing MEU workups, and then my third kid when I was in Afghanistan. And
Wow.
she handled it like a boss.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. That's awesome.
yeah, and I got orders on recruiting back to Charlotte. So from 2004 to 2011, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, back
And
at I.
no, on recruiting.
Oh, recruiting. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
recruiting. Okay,
yeah. So I
got
mean,
you.
my pitch to the Marine Corps was like, hey, you don't have to PCS me. I already know people in the area. I've got connections. I've got hookups. So they brought me back.
Yeah.
But they gave me in the end, like, hey, instead of taking 30 days of leave after recruiter school, you can only take 2 weeks. Okay. But sure enough, first year around 2008, I got selected for staff sergeant. I got promoted October 11th, 2008 to staff sergeant because I was so senior. I
Okay.
had 6 years time of grade as a sergeant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And was a canvas recruiter for 2 years. And then my last year, I was a MEPS liaison. So basically, I handled
Okay.
the processing of everybody coming through the recruiting station for all the recruiting substations.
So you
And
were like checking all the legality aspects of
yeah,
everything that they were doing and stuff like
yeah,
that.
legality. When people shipped, I made sure the packages were typed to go down to the
Hmm.
depot. If there was any fires need to be put out in medical when a kid was on deck, like, hey, this kid has a sunken chest, he needs a medical consult. I hooked and jabbed, make
Yeah.
sure it got done that day instead of making the kid come back next week.
Hmm.
So, I mean,
Very
we had
cool.
a good time out there. I mean, pretty much all my stations always made mission every month. It may have taken it down the
Hmm.
wire, but between me and them, actually more them than me, they did the legwork. But we made it happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. Now, would you consider that one of the hardest duties you had?
it was the hardest.
Yeah.
That duty set me up for success in anything else I did.
Yeah. 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 For
Because if
sure.
I can handle recruiting duty, 36
Yeah.
1 month tours, 36 combat tours, Today's January 1st. You wrote 6 contracts in December. Great. What do you got for January?
Yeah,
That's got right. Nothing. I wrote my 6 in December to help us make mission. Well, we need something for January. So
it's a new month.
Exactly. And,
yeah.
But yeah, that's, I mean, if I look back now, I've been off recruiting duty for 14 years.
Yeah.
I laugh at anything now. Nothing phases me. Like I have a successful tour in recruiting. I can handle anything life throws at me.
Yeah. That's true. And just learning how to like make those connections and network and things like that on any B-billet really is an incredible thing. And anytime anybody came off of a B-billet, it's like you throw anything at them, they're like, yeah, whatever, okay.
Yeah. And you got the little ribbon, you got the blue and red one for recruiting, khaki and green for drill instructor, and then the MSG one. You look, people wearing chucks, you're looking like, okay, you're a recruiter, okay, you're DL. You're good to go. And but yeah, no, it was a good time out there. It taught me a lot about myself. It basically restructured, reorganized my career because I went from being a 3-piece sergeant, mediocre sergeant. It seems like the older I got, the higher rank I got, the better fit reps I got. It was weird. It was weird. But yeah, I left recruiting 2011, got stationed at CLR2, Combat Logistics Regiment 2 in here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Came back home the last time in 2011. And basically we handled the logistics support for the CLBs that go out with the BLT on the MU. So, and worked on that, handled that. And about then I started back to college again. I started in Japan. I kind of piecemeal classes here, and I actually buckled down, started college in 2011. Went to Ashford University, which actually doesn't exist anymore. They got folded up under University of Arizona Global Campus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a for-profit school. They love the military because they got their TA every month.
Oh yeah.
And but
that's true.
Started in 2011, graduated in 2012 with a bachelor's in criminal justice and sociology.
Very nice.
And really didn't do much at CLR2. It was kind of like the waypoint. Okay, what are you going to do with yourself? Or do you want to go with smooth? Do you want to go on phase mode? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Well, in 2012, a tasker came out. Hey, we need a staff CO and supply to go on this pump to Afghanistan with the meth. I'm like, all right, cool. Send me. I need to go somewhere because by then it was 2012. The war on terror has been going on for a decade and a half, and I kind of need to get in the fight. I need to do something. So because my dad was a Vietnam veteran. My uncle's Vietnam veterans. I felt like I was cheating the family legacy by not doing something.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like, let me go get mine. So I'm volunteered for that, and from February of 2013 until July of 2013, I was with 2 Meth Forward in Afghanistan doing the drawdown of forces because we went from a meth size element down to a regimental size element.
Yeah.
And I was the R4OG supply chief. It was a retrograde, redeployment, and resport, and something else. The 4 R's, I can't remember what they mean anymore. It's been a long time.
Okay.
It basically is, what do we do with this gear? Do we give it to another nation? Do we send it back home? Do we just destroy it in theater? And, we gave MTVRs to Tonga. We gave 5 tons to Japan, stuff like that. And I'm in charge of getting that. Okay, this is our gear. Let's get this boxed up, sent home, give this to this country, give this to this country, leave this in Afghanistan, let them have it. And that was a good time because I got to work one-on-one with the 2-star general, like, conversing every day, like, hey, sir, this is what we're sitting on in regards to this. This is what we're sitting on in regards to. So that gave me a lot of confidence in talking with higher ups. So this guy's basically running the show in theater. So
who was the general officer then?
General Lee Miller.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And July 13, my wife was a high risk pregnancy with my third one. So she sent a Red Cross message like, hey, I'm due any day now. He needs to come home.
Yeah.
And the MEF's like, hey, we're drawing down. So instead of you just going for 2 weeks, come back, just stay home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cool. Don't got to tell me twice.
And
so I went home, got home like 5 days before my youngest daughter was born.
Oh, wow.
And got selected for Gunny too. So June, July 2013 was like an awesome time for me because I got selected for Gunny and I had a newborn baby. Living the dream.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I got back. I got orders to 2nd Tank Battalion.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, my Twilight Tour, cool. Get over there. I pinned on Gunny in November 13. I got orders to tanks in July of 14.
Okay.
To go to 2nd Tanks, we're getting ready for a phase mode. Like I drop right in, like, hey, we got phase mode in 3 weeks. rock and roll. And yeah, Second Tanks was actually the second largest supply account in division. I think LAR was the first largest. So we were
Really?
like super duper top heavy. We had a captain suppo, a lieutenant A slash, a master sergeant supply chief, a gunny admin chief, a staff sergeant ops chief, and then a staff sergeant warehouse chief.
Wow.
Gigantic unit. We had 4 companies at that time. So
No kidding. Wow.
yeah, this was before they drew down and completely obliterated tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had and credit to the Marines we had there. We had a stellar cast of sergeants and below. Like,
Yeah.
they like, Gunny, go sit in your office. We got this. Oh, okay. If you need me to call somebody, let me know. I'll call somebody. So they use me like, hey, go talk Gunny to Gunny because this sergeant's being a pain in the ass. All right, cool. And rock the phase mode. Got like a 92 on it.
Very
I'm
cool.
like, awesome. I can retire in 3 years, be done. Well, November 2014, I got called to my CO's office. Lieutenant Colonel Bodish. He is the ROTC instructor at University of Colorado now.
Okay.
Yeah, full-bird colonel now. And he's like, hey, I'm friends with the CO at 2nd Recon Battalion. Okay, sir. Where's this going? Well, they have had a tri-unit theft ring between Recon, MARSOC, and MSOP to where they were stealing gear, selling it out town, and some of the serialized gear wound up in Saudi Arabia.
What?
Yeah. They called it NCIS. They called the FBI. They called everybody in. The supply chief got fired. A bunch of the clerks got put in jail. They recalled dudes that had gotten out and like court-martialed them and put them in the brig.
Wow.
Like, I lost everybody when I got there. It was like, it's just a TAD assignment. Just go fix it and you come back. I'm there for a week and a half. Like, hey, the CO's going to keep you. He likes you.
Wow.
Great.
So you're saying it was the supply unit that was like stealing and selling everything?
Yeah, the junior Marines, they were stealing stuff, selling downtown.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, and it was between the 3 units because it's very specialized gear.
Yeah.
So like, the smaller enhanced SAPI plates and the smaller body armors and all that, the Pelotor helmets, headphones and all that stuff. So we had like a unit specific SMU or SIF in our warehouse because like you couldn't get the second chance body armors at the regular SIF. You couldn't get the control packs of the regular SIF. So we kept it in house. So they were stealing this stuff, issuing it out on a dummy card and going to the system and just deleting it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this was November of 14. By February 15, we had a SMAT, supply management assessment team, something like, I can't remember what it means. It's basically a precursor to phase mode. Like, hey, how are y'all doing? Should we be worried when we come visit y'all? Are y'all tracking in the right direction? You need to push. By the skin of my teeth and the skin of my Marine's teeth, every Marine I got after I got there had come straight from the schoolhouse.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I had no NCO experience there. It was like a blessing and a curse because the blessing was I could train them the way they need to be trained.
Right. Yeah.
But they had no experience to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of late nights. I went from one type of blood pressure med. I was on 3 blood pressure meds by the time I retired. So,
oh, dang.
Yeah. But God bless them. And me and the suppo, we just got along great.
Yeah.
That helped out a lot. Major Jason Reese now. He's a first lieutenant captain select when I got there. He's a major now.
Okay. Wow.
Great dude. Still talk to him this day. We have group chats going. And just between me, him, the MMO, the motor T officer, the Lago, we just got along great. Well, like, we all understood the assignment. Like, listen.
Yeah.
Not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not our fault. Let's fix this shit.
Yeah.
Let's make the old man look good.
Yeah, it just makes it easier when you walk in and it's like, hey, you guys just got to fix it.
Yeah. And
okay.
I mean, yeah, me and the sub, we had a running joke going. Like, I wrote all his correspondence for him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I started grad school right before I got there too. So I was working on my master's and turning in a tuition assistance form to him back when we still used to do it on paper.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Guns, you're going to school? I'm like, yes, sir. Oh, going for your associates? No. Going for your bachelor's? No. Vocational? No, sir. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, going for a master's, sir. He's like, oh. Gunny, are you smarter than me? Sir, if you have to ask that question, you probably know the answer already. So, nice. I got my master's in public administration and criminal justice from Liberty University in 2015. So,
wow, very nice.
That kind of like between 15 and 17, once I finished school, that
Yeah.
allowed me to focus on working on retirement.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I got 2 years left. I told all my junior Marines, like, hey, if you're getting out of the Marine Corps after your first tour, your last 6 months belongs to you.
Yeah.
Get your seminar done, start school, get your physicals on. I'm like, my last year belongs to me. Like, 20 years, I earned a year to do what I need to do. And but start training those PFCs I got in 2015. They were corporals by 2017. They were ready to run the show. I just had to run the interference from the command group, and that allowed me to really work on getting all my stuff done for retirement. It allowed me to network. I was able to segue from the Marine Corps. I retired May 13th on a Friday. I interviewed for the county on that Monday. They hired me that Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
So I took 30 days of leave. I was still on PTAD and terminal for 60 days, double dipping on paychecks. And wound up having hip surgery in May of 16, right before I retired. So I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm done. Like, finito, I'm done. And just basically wound up my last year working on my retirement. And since I wrote all my captain's correspondence, he came in with me, like, just looking at my desk and went, what, sir? He's like, hey, yeah, you like to write? Sure. You mind writing your own retirement award?
Very nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a joke, 100% joke, I wrote myself up for a meritorious service medal.
Okay.
As a gunny.
Yeah.
It got approved.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare
like,
you see a gunny with it.
Go for a Legion of Merit? I'm like, no, let me set my sights lower and go for Merit.
Yeah.
Because at that time, my highest personal award was a Navy Achievement Medal.
Oh, no kidding.
Because I figured, like, hey, meritorious service, they'll downgrade it to Navy Com.
Yeah.
Didn't really care anyway, but it's nice to be recognized for your service. So, and I wrote it up as a joke, as a meritorious service medal. And when the sergeant major's reading out, President of the United States takes pleasure in commending Gunner Sergeant John R. Godfrey meritorious service medal, I was like, holy shit, it actually went through. And the CEO looked at me, he's like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, yes, sir. So, and but yeah, did that. I wound up at my retirement sermon. I gave my meritorious service medal to my wife. I'm like, if anybody deserves this, it's you. One, putting it in me.
Yeah. 2,
raising 3 kids when I was doing all sorts of this stuff. Like, you let me focus on me. So this is you. And I didn't want to have a retirement ceremony anyway. It was for the wife and kids.
Yeah.
And it's also for my mom, because my mom passed away 6 years ago. So I have no parents left, which sucks. But she was there at every big event in my career. She was there when I graduated boot camp. She was there when I pinned on sergeant. She was there when I went to Afghanistan. She was there when I got pinned to gunny, and she was at my retirement.
Right.
So she was there for everything. And that out of all in my career, that's one of the things I'm most thankful for. My mom got to see everything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
She was so proud because her husband's a Marine. Her second husband's a Marine.
Oh, no.
I was a Marine. Her 2 brothers were Marines. Her nephew's a Marine. So, like, that woman bled scarlet and gold. She loved the Marine Corps. She loved the Marine Corps. That's
incredible.
And then she worked with the Marines every day at Blount Island. So she loved the Marine Corps. And for her to experience that with me was amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
And then retired, got into work for the county. I do work for the Department of Health and Human Services now. I do intake and eligibility for food stamp applications.
Oh, okay.
It's a very stressful job, but going back to recruiting duty, I can handle it. It's like, I've worked at home for the past 3 years, and there's no amount of money in the world that will drag me back to the office.
Yeah, well,
they will promote you, will give you a title. I don't care. This is my third source of income. So like, the peace of mind I have after the last half of my career, my kids rarely saw me I'm the first person they see when they wake up in the morning. I'm the last person they see when they go to bed at night.
Yeah.
Can't put a price on it.
Absolutely.
Can't put a price on it. And I'm still reaching out. My junior Marines still reach out to me. They ask me for career advice. They ask me for life advice. Just check in on them every now and then. Hey, how you doing? Oh, doing great, Guns.
Yeah.
My name's Jay now. Don't call me Guns. That guy's retired. And my problem Marine, who I thought was going to get ADSIP because he just had a bad attitude. He just got promoted to meritorious staff sergeant. He's on recruiting duty right now.
Dang, good for him. That's awesome.
Running in office right now.
Nice. Yeah. It's amazing how it depends on the individual, but those that you think, no, I don't know if that's going to work out for that person, then all of a sudden, man, they, they're out there doing it. It's good.
He was, well, his story is funny because he was getting to a lot of arguments with the other Lance Corporals and the NCOs. I pulled him at the office one day. I'm like, bro, what's going on, man? He's like, no, nothing gonna show, nothing gonna. I'm like, I took my blouse off. Listen, bro, chevron's off, blouse off. My name's Jay, man. Chris, what's going on? And just his grandfather, the guy that pretty much raised him, passed away.
Oh, wow.
And he was upset. So I'm like, all right, take the day off. Do you need to go home? He's like, no, they already buried him and I don't need to go home. I'm like, well, if you want to put in leave, I'll prove it. Or if not, just today's Thursday, take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
Yeah.
Get your mind right. And then my wife found out, like, hey, what's his favorite flavor cookie? So I asked him, Snickerdoodles. My wife made him a batch of cookies.
Nice.
Just say, hey, sorry to hear about your grandpa. Hope this makes you feel better. He wrote her a handwritten letter that she still has 11 years later.
No kidding.
Said, this shows me that I'm not just a Marine. I have family now. That's not my blood, but y'all are my family. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Completely flipped his career. He went from like mediocre Marine, pinning ass at Marine of the Quarter, meritorious corporal. As a warehouseman, they sent him to jump school. So he's probably like the only 30-51 in the Marine Corps with jump wings. And the guy's rocking and rolling, like living the dream. He probably, if he keeps running the way he's running, he'll probably be a meritorious gunny this time next year.
Good Lord. Good for him, though.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, what a turnaround.
And I feel like that's my legacy in the Marine Corps is these guys just stellar. I mean, didn't matter if they stayed in the Marines. He's in the Marine Corps. I had another guy got out, joined the Army.
Yeah.
Doing great things in the Army. One guy's a cop down in Florida doing great things. The other guy's a contractor in Texas doing great things. But they all check in, like, hey, guys, just checking in, say how you doing? I'm doing great. Living the dream.
Yeah.
Outstanding, man. If you need anything, let me know. They've asked me for letters of recommendation for jobs. They've asked me to put me down as a point of contact for, federal service, anything. I'm like, whatever you need, let me know.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Well, that's awesome that, it's a good feeling to be able to look back at that and know, that they're going to reach out to you if they need something, Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the medals don't mean anything. The awards, the ranks don't mean anything. It's the people, because I told my guys the day I retired was like, if the guy they named the base after retired and the Marine Corps kept running, they're not going to care if I leave. They're not going to care if you leave.
Yeah.
But the guy to the left and right, they're the ones that are going to care.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I always said the big green machine is going to keep on rolling. So it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. And I kind of got the skewed perspective. I'm still in town. I still see it running every day.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Marines are still doing outstanding. They're still doing great things. There's still that 10% that need tightening up, but
yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, it's not the Marine Corps I joined. It's the same Corps. You just changed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And everything with time changes anyways, but it's not going to change that dramatic. You know what I'm saying? So.
No.
It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, dang, man, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like hearing your story. It's been good, man.
Well, I always say I always had bad times in the Marine, or I had a bad day in the Marine Corps. I never had a bad time. Or I had bad experiences in the Marine Corps, but I never had a bad time or a bad day.
Yeah.
Like every day was great. Were there things I would change? Always. Would I change anything about the experience? Never.
Yeah.
Because everything
makes you who you are.
Where I am now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, thinking back on your career, thinking back on everything, I always ask everybody, what is something that you want to leave everybody with, or maybe words of wisdom or anything like that? What is something that you want to tell everybody?
It's actually, I had my little book in my pocket when I retired, and I brought it out, and I told 3 things I want people to remember. If they remember anything from me, is 1, learn something from everybody you meet. Either how to do something or how not to do something. Yeah. That it could be the worst NCO you've ever had. It could be the worst staff officer you've ever had. They taught you something. They taught you how not to do something. So they still taught you. 2 was learn something new every day. If you don't learn something new every day, you wasted that day. Yeah, that's good. The last thing I'm like, the last words I left my Marines is that remember, above all, Gunny loves you. Nice. So, yeah. So yeah, that's my little 3 words of wisdom I gave my Marines when I retired. So that's awesome. That's good, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on and telling your story. Yes, thanks for having me. I mean, it may not be a superstar story, but it's my story, and I'm proud of it. So, dude, I always tell people, and everyone's a little nervous or whatever, I always say, you know what? Everybody's story is important. It doesn't matter what you did, and it needs to be told because people need to hear it, If anybody else, just the family at least needs to hear it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we always build up the hype, less than 1% of 1% of the population ever joined the Marine Corps. So, I mean, I
That's
got a
right.
story less than 1% of people can tell. So,
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, cool, man. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Don't take off yet. I'm going to do my outro, but don't take off.
sounds
To,
good.
to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. Jay cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with and ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give them that helping hand. One last time, man, thanks for coming on and doing this. To all the listeners, stay motivated, change your side.